My name's Jean. I'm 76, nearly 77. When I came over from England, I came over because of my husband. He'd been in the Navy and he'd been here quite a lot. And he knew a lot about Australia. When I came to Queensland, there was nothing here. This was open fields. Brisbane in particular, those days, to me was just like a very large town, not a city.
Hi, I'm Robin Gallen. I've been a Robin Mitchell and I've been a Robin Bates. I was fortunate to grow up in New South Wales, a lovely place called Earlwood and a beautiful suburb. It was after the war that we moved to Earlwood as a family. I moved to Queensland in 1988. We came up for Expo and the family decided that it would be a good idea if we all moved together. So my son in the armed forces said that he would actually settle in Queensland. So it would mean then that we would be a united family. We weren't quite sure where to come to, but I was always grateful that we chose Logan. It's a wonderful community and we're very happy here.
My name is Mrs. Jean Grinnell. I was born in 1941 in the Blitz in Liverpool with the bombs coming down on us. My friend wanted to go to South Africa with her family and I wanted to go with her because we were great friends. And my husband said, no way. So we decided to come to Australia. We came over on the plane and we didn't know what part of Australia, so we just wrote on the form. But then we found out where they wanted to send my husband was in the mines and he said no way. So we picked Queensland. And then my friend and I got the same house. I got Slacks Creek and she got Jacaranda Avenue at Logan. And we were there, I've been there now for 48 years in the same house.
My name's Barbara. I came from England when I was 19. I was born in London and I grew up in London and Kent. And my boyfriend at the time emigrated to Australia. So 18 months later, I came out to see what Australia was like. And we ended up getting married. And 6 months later, we did work on a farm out at the Dolby and did some fruit picking. And we did 3 months fruit picking, and that was enough to save for our first house.
I had a twin brother. We got on quite well. Well, actually, when we were young, we were called the terrible twins of Speak. Because we did a lot of things, I believe, wrong with my mother and father. And in those days, we had a ragman, what used to come in the street, and he'd be shouting for rags, and he would have a bowl of fish. So my twin and I ran out, stripped off, gave him our clothes, and came home with the bowl of fish. And my mother was running after the ragman to get our clothes back. And lucky enough, he swapped the clothes for the fish.
I've really been a person who has been able to think of others even from a very young child. And it's always kept me very much a part of the community. I actually worked with the Australian Red Cross. I've worked with abused and neglected children. I've taken care of them 24 hours a day, 4 days at a time. I love my work in the community now. And then it was quite daunting and amazing when I was awarded the Order of Australia. Looking back on the things that I've been able to do, it really comes back to the opportunities I've taken in life and that I hope I'm going to be able to continue to do.
I just love beautiful surroundings, especially flowers. Maybe it's because I'm English, I don't know. But I think when you're out in a nice space, I've lived in a townhouse with just a tiny area, and it was so full. I even put a little bucket down to catch the rain, and had a frog that decided to make a home in my bucket. So you can make it's beautiful. And people come and they say, "Oh, I love your garden." So I've got a big boat in the sunken ground and a pond and a waterfall at the back. And it's all messy, but I try to keep it. I try to do as much as I can. But it just keeps me busy. I've got chickens, fish, dog, and gardening. You just forget about everything out there.
I like being part of my community, so church was really important, and certainly for me to be able to walk to church and be part of all the community church activities that we have. As well as that, I'm an ambassador for Logan Council for seniors, and so I have a real role in the community of looking at what seniors' needs are, especially things like safety. That's really important to me, keeping the community safe and advising other seniors on all the things that are really important and that they can do in Logan.
I'm the president of the Logan Committee on the Ageing. We provide information and groups for people to attend and that sort of thing to keep them active. I've been with Lakota now for almost 10 years. I came as a community visitor, but ended up on the committee. Lakota is a wonderful place to be in because there's a lot of people of your own age group who have different ideas of what their interests should be. And we're able to talk about things in the past and stuff like that. Our staff are all younger people, which is good, because they learn from the older people too. And a lot of the oldies like talking to young people. It gives me something to do, and it also helps me pay back.
Well, I live at Logan, and we have community flyer, and they organise for you to go shopping, and doctors, friends, and also every Friday we go on a coach trip with them. And it's really fantastic because you meet all the people your age or even older than what you are. And it's good to be in the same environment at the same age so we can relate to one another.
I think growing older comes on you all of a sudden. One day you get up and see yourself in the mirror and think, is that really me? Well, it is. You learn to be a little bit more comfortable with yourself, whereas when you're younger, you're always trying new things. I think you become a little more wise and think about things differently. I used to be a speed driver, whereas now I'm taking Miss Daisy along the road, and I think growing old, if you're lucky enough to have good health, is a nice thing, and it should be a nice thing.
When I had my accident 5 years ago, they bought one of my favourite paintings in that I used to look at in my room, and I bought it in England, and I met the artist, and it's a mountain moon, the moon shining down, and it's all sparkly with two little figures dancing, and he asks you what you think about the painting. Anyway, I bought it, and it's got this moon shadow. Well, I like Cat Stevens, and he used to sing local when I was growing up, and he's got a song, Moon Shadow. If you listen to the words, really listen, it makes you realise that even if you can't talk properly, you can't walk properly, you can still keep going. And that's my theme song.
When I was 20, I don't think I took any notice of anybody older than me. Because at 20 you think you're invincible. You think you know everything, which you certainly don't. If I was giving advice now, I'd tell young people to listen to older people. They've had the experience, they've been through the down times, they've had issues where maybe it's been hard to pay rent or get food, and I think when we're young, we don't think it's going to happen to us, so this is why we think we're invincible.
It's no secret. Life goes up and down. You have good days and bad days, especially in a wheelchair. But I guess the only secret is that you've just got to treasure the good times, accept that it's not always going to be good, but you can ask for help, you can delegate, you can sit and feel sorry for yourself. But then once you've done that, you've got to pick yourself up and just get on with things. But life is good.
Yeah, I think it's very important to plan ahead, because when you become old, you definitely need a will or you get into trouble. Yeah, I just had to change my will because my husband passed away, and I never realised that will, it was no good. So I had it all done. I think it's important to have it up to date. Things change a lot, yeah, very important.
I think when you talk about wills and what you want for your end times, you have to start thinking about it young, because one of the things we all forget is we drive cars, we walk on roads, we could get killed in a smash, or somebody could run over us. So my advice would be that you start looking at a will. You may not want to look at how you want your funeral at 30, but certainly as you go on you need to. And I think one of the things people forget to do is to revisit the will. Every time something changes in your life, like you might move house, buy a better house, buy a bigger car, then that's a change that you need to include into your will.
Well, my daughter bought me a book a couple of years ago because I was talking about being organised, all the photos, all the past memorabilia, certain bits of furniture that she knows relates to certain people that she'll have when I go, and some jewellery that goes to different people. But she bought me this book about what I want and what I would like when I start to get sick, or if I do die, where do I want my ashes, what type of service, what type of music. So it's all in this book, and what it said, something about get on with it, get organised and get on with it. So being organised, and then you can put it aside. So she knows, she grabs that book. Well, that's what she's got to be what she's got to eat back.
Although it's not an easy thing to face, no matter what we do in life, we all have to pass on. So, the earlier you think about it, the easier it becomes. As for your statement of choices, what you want for your funeral and things like that, I think young people don't realise that, maybe they want a certain song at their funeral, but nobody knows that.
When I think back to 2014, my husband was just starting to be quite unwell, and I was greatly concerned about that. I knew that if we were going to get things in place, it needed to be while he was well enough to make the decisions and what he really wanted, and we actually got it in writing, which was so important as well. When 2019 came, we realised that he was moving into dementia, and we wouldn't have been able to get the documentation that we'd had already. Now, some of the things needed to be changed, and we certainly needed to review what we'd done, but how important it was that he chose the correct people to be his advisors and to have those documents that they could help me with, not just all my responsibility, but I had it to share with my son-in-law and my granddaughter, so not all the responsibility and decision-making falls on my shoulders.
Pick a time, maybe outside in the garden, to sit down and talk to that Bob, and just generally say, well, now you're getting older, what you thought about, talk to Mum about, or, you know, they're very unlikely to bring it up. It's probably not likely that I bring it up. So I would just say to them, I'd like to talk to you about the future, because I might not be here in 20, 30 years when you're grown up. But they'll say, oh no, I don't want to talk about it now. Say, well, I'd just like you to know that this is how I'd like it to be when I go. And I'd appreciate it if you helped Mum carry out my wishes. And then it should all run smooth and you'll just live on the memories. The happy times.
It gets easier to do as you get older. I've done mine. I've even put the hymns down and everything else that I want. But it's all written up for my children, and I have it in a folder so that when and if I do pass away, nobody knows when, they are not left with the decisions. It's already been done, and it's been done legally, and they can read it and see it all. Going back to when I was young, I mean, I didn't think I was going to die at 30, you know, but I know people that died at 30. And what we forget is, no matter what age we are, we leave our family and loved ones to then struggle through all that for us, because we haven't done it, and we need to.